Before we jump in, I want to make it very clear that these are not a replacement for doing the work. They're not going to fix your English. But if you do find yourself in a situation where you need to demonstrate better English skills than you actually have, for example, you find out that tomorrow you're going to be meeting an English speaker for the first time, or perhaps you get a last-minute job interview and you want to make a good impression. These tips should be really helpful. What I'm about to say isn't really a tip. It's more a suggestion for how you should approach the faking it situation. You need to come at it with confidence, which I know is easier said than done. But if you say things with confidence, even more than you feel, it helps the listener to feel that the conversation is in safe hands, that you know what you are doing, even if you don't. Let's get started with tip number 1. Learn the words which often tell you a sentence is a question. Who, what, where, when, and why. These are often called question words, and they can help you know when a question has been asked so that you know that you need to respond. But what do you do if your English isn't yet good enough for you to hear the question, understand that you need to have a response, translate the question, come up with your own response, and then translate it back? Well, the next tip should really help with that. Tip number 2. Now this one might sound a little bit odd, but go with it because I use it and it works every time. And I use it when I haven't been or wasn't listening to the speaker. So for example, if I was reading a book or I was watching TV and I just misheard or I wasn't paying careful attention to what was being said to me, this is what I do. I say, I don't know. Bear with me, because it's all about the expression and tone that you use when you say that. Why? Because you're going to turn the statement into a question. You're going to say it like this. Watch my face, listen carefully to the tone. I don't know. Asking I don't know in that way will encourage the speaker, the original speaker, to answer the question for you, because you're going to say, I don't know, and make it look like you're thinking about your response, but you just haven't formulated it yet. Tip number 3. And you can use this tip with tip number 2, and it's use filler words. Native speakers always use filler words, and English speakers are no different. The key is to find ones that people actually say and use those ones. So here are some examples that English speakers use all the time. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. I was like. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? The last one is obviously not a word, but it is a very commonly used phrase. And you'll notice that it almost gets smushed all together. Do you know what I mean? One of the greatest things about these is that they can be used all together. So I was like, so basically, and I've said not a word that really that makes sense at all. None of that makes sense. It's not a sentence. But everyone's going to know that they're just filler words. They're words that English speakers use when they're not sure what's coming next. It gives the brain time to think. Filler words are not necessarily grammatically right, but they are used often, and they're used to give the speaker longer to think about what it is that they want to say. So not only do these words help you sound more like a native, but they also give you the opportunity to have time to think about what it is that you would like to say. Tip number 4, master the greeting. First impressions are really important, so I strongly recommend having something prepared, ready to say, so that you can say it all in one go. If you want some ideas for what you might want to say in your introduction or greeting, we do have a separate video on that, and we'll put a link to it. Otherwise, this video would be really long. Tip number 5. This tip links very closely with tip number 4, and it's to learn some common full sentences that you can use in social situations. So why full sentences and not just vocabulary? Well, it frees up your mind from not having to construct the sentences in the moment, and it makes you sound much more fluent as you're not having to pause or interrupt yourself while you translate. Tip number 6. Find different ways to ask someone to repeat themselves. The key is to have lots of different ways of asking someone to repeat themselves without having the same thing to say over and over again. The listener is far less likely to notice if you ask them to repeat something in lots of different ways than if you just ask them to repeat it in one way. And this, as a bonus, helps you demonstrate a wider vocabulary. We do have a video on how to ask someone to repeat something, ranging from individual words to full sentences. Thumbs up if you found this video useful, and subscribe if you would like to see more from us. Until next time, bye-bye!